Last year, of course, it was very intense. We had a follow-on, we had a big acquisition, so we more than doubled our size in number of students. So the company itself grew a lot, and with this growth, what happened in the same time was the growth of our transparency, was the growth of the interest from the analysts, from the investors, by the company. So I think one of the another biggest motive of these 7 nominations is exactly the management and the support that the management gives to the IR team. We have a very young CEO. He's 36-year-old, but he's very experienced in the market, very experienced in the sector of education, in the educational sector, which helps a lot. And more than him, we have a very solid team. The executive management, and I am, let's say, focused only in IR, which helps a lot to think only about IR. So there's a differentiation there compared to a lot of other companies here in Brazil that has the IR responding as a manager, or not as a superintendent, not as a director, only thinking about IR as it is in Kroton. So I think that helps a lot to reinforce the area, to reinforce the attention to IR, which I think every company should do. So I think that helps a lot. In terms of corporate governance, what I can say more is that our board is completely committed with the transparency, with the best practice, and we have as our shareholder one very important private equity, it's Advent International, which also brings from the market to the company the best practice and also ideas to improve IR practice. So, but it's all in the board side, so I participate personally in the board meetings, and then we talk about how we can improve or keep improving the IR practice. We are always thinking about how we can improve even more the practice that we have in terms of investor relations. For this year, we intended to analyze a possible listing on ADR level 1 in the US, an OTC market. We are thinking about that. It's something that we're going to be studying during the next months to analyze if it's worth or not, but I think it's going to be another important step for the company to be more international, to turn more known from the international investors' point of view. So it's going to be very interesting to go for this idea in the next quarters. Besides that, we're still going to do some participate in new conferences. We have now 14 analyst covering the stock, so it's a wide range of a lot of invitations to go in conference and everything else. So it's going to be we're going to be very present, very close to the financial community, and be more close to them will probably mean be more known in the market, and this will probably I believe that's going to be even good for the company, even better for the company, to improve our efficiency and improve our transparency for the whole market. It wasn't only one single story, it's a lot of different stories. The thing is that we went for a follow-on mid last year, a little bit before June, and we could raise about 400 million reais, a little bit less than that at that time. With that money, we started some M&A activity, small and mid institutions, higher education institutions here in Brazil, which is a very fragmented market. After these mid-size ones, we found a very interesting opportunity, but it's a very big asset. It's called Unopar. It had approximately 160,000 students, and more focus on distance learning, which was a market that we are not operating as too much. So it was a new market for us, so important and very accretive for the company. We paid 1.3 billion reais for Unopar. It was the biggest operation in the educational sector ever in Brazil. So it's a landmark in the sector, and it's going to be very difficult to surpass this mark. And with these acquisitions, we needed again to go to the market, and we did a private offer, and we raised more 600 million reais, and we had 99.5% of the current shareholders that subscribed in this capital raise. So which let's say signs signs off the successful of the operation and the, let's say, the perception of the market within the company and within the perspective for Kroton itself. You need to be very close to the financial community. You need to be very accessible for them. I think that you need to have, sometimes you don't have the answer right at that time, but you need to go for it. And you need to get back as soon as possible. So I think to be very close, to be very proactive, to have them visiting the company, understanding the company, to educate the financial community as a whole, the analysts, investors. Sometimes it's very, very important for you to keep them in attention with you, with your company. One very important thing is also the team, the people that are supporting me. I have a very, let's say, not big team working with me, but they are very important to keep things running. Because when I travel for a conference, when I go to visit a client, the phone is ringing there and they need to be very prepared to answer everything else. Kroton was a very interesting challenge for me personally, because the company, when I joined the company, it wasn't very good performance. But after some changes in the company, it was very interesting. The performance was improving quarter over quarter. So I think that the market was getting more trustable in terms of how the company would be delivering. And with that, and with a very good practice of an IR and the support of the management, we could reach where we are now.